I'm going to get in so much trouble. You guys, you have no
At the end of the day, anyone that talks smack to Billy I'm a fan. I'm always a fan.
Here you go, Billy. William, he hates that. I found that out.
I believe it was a dog that pinned Josh in his sleep. It was a
Bro,
pin anywhere
why
match.
why you gotta bring that up?
I said, Billy, because I got that butthole in my brain now since you mentioned his name.
I get it, dude. I get it.
Every time Billy Simmons puts his input into it, it goes to trash, and you can see it by the cards.
Hallelujah! Holy shit! Where's the Tylenol?
Guys, December 2nd, it is coming. Wreck the Halls. Heartland Championship Wrestling is bringing you a showcase of some of the most elite wrestlers in the Midwest. It is going to be a blast. You are going to have some of the greatest wrestlers going against each other. In fact, we have got one with us right now. Let me do a little promo for the show, and then we will introduce him and get a few tidbits, a few sound bites from him, and just get to hear some of his thoughts about this upcoming event. So like I said, that is Wreck the Halls. It's going to be on December 2nd at the Osage Recreational Center in Wichita, Kansas. Doors are going to open at 5 p.m. and that bell rings at 6. Make sure you're following HCW on all the socials to stay up to date, match announcements, all the great stuff. In fact, some of the things that you'll see on there, some big news that we wanted to highlight for them, is December 2nd, they have a toy drive coming up. So when you're at Wreck the Halls, one of the cool things you can participate in is a toy drive. And you're going to get a chance, if anybody that donates a toy has a chance to win a children's replica Heartland Championship title. It's going to be so cool. But it's absolutely free. Chance to win that just by donating a toy. So it's a big toy drive, big toy collection. I'm not sure who they're partnering. I'm not sure who they're partnering with, but obviously those toys are going to needy kids in the community. And HCW always loves partnering in that way. Another thing you'll want to keep your eye out for is Friday, December 1st. You can actually catch the wonderful crew of Heartland Championship Wrestling, that wonderful leadership of Billy and Daniel. They are going to be on Good Day, Kansas on KSN on Friday morning, December 1st. I don't know what time, but jump on their socials. You can see all the details there. Make sure you tune into that. It's going to be so cool to see them talking about upcoming shows, talking about just all the hype. I mean, man, HCW has made a big splash there in Osage. They've been killing it up in Leavenworth at the local. Like, you cannot miss with HCW. Now, like I said, a little bit of hype on that, but we have a special guest today. Let me tell you, HCW, phenomenal, but HCW is led by a particular man named Billy Simmons, who I love very dearly, but I have my own personal beef with at times. You know, I've suffered under the the oppressive hands of Billy Simmons at times. And we have one wrestler by the name of Red James with us today. And let me tell you, if anybody knows what it's like to be under the oppressive thumb of Billy Simmons, it is Red James. So welcome, Red James. We're glad to have you, man. Thanks for being here, dude.
Thanks for having me, fellas. Thanks for having me, Billy, Bobby, and JD. Sorry, I said Billy because I got that butthole in my brain now since you mentioned his name.
I get it, dude. I get it.
But appreciate you having me. If it's the replica that I'm thinking of, if I've seen it, I don't know. I could be totally wrong. That replica that they're giving away is awesome. It's totally awesome. So cool. If it is what I'm thinking of, if it is, I'm totally wrong. It's crap. It's cheap. I don't know. But if it is the one that I'm thinking of, it is immaculate. And
it is the one you're thinking of. It's the heavier one.
Oh yeah, it's the heavier one. Okay,
yeah.
It's immaculate. That's
amazing.
And some kid is gonna, because I know plenty of the boys and girls in the back have tried to run off with it, and so it's immaculate. Anyone, not just a child, anyone would be honored to win that. It's totally awesome. I can't. That's one thing that Go
I
ahead.
was going to say everyone's got the shot to do it. All you got to do is bring a toy with you to the Wreck the Halls event there on December 2nd. When you come to the show, bring that toy. You're going to be entered in, and I assume they're going to be giving it away that night, right? That would be my assumption. So yeah, they'll give it away that night.
If you're
They're
getting,
doing it right before the main event.
Oh, there you go.
They're going to be giving it away right before the main event, just like the 50-50 raffle. That's taking that place.
Gotcha.
Oh, nice.
Very nice.
Nice.
Very nice.
very nice.
I
Well,
might be
Rhett,
bringing a toy.
tell us a little bit, just so that our listeners have a chance. Tell us a little bit about yourself, what got you into wrestling, and ultimately where you find yourself these days, especially when it comes to you and Billy. You guys seem to have a wonderful little feud going on here.
It's not a feud. He's a POS. It's not a feud. And I'm trying to make people realize that Billy Simmons is not a good person. He's put on a good charade for people. But what got me into wrestling was my great grandfather. He was a Ric Flair fan, so I grew up Ric Flair wasn't old for some reason, and Hulk Hogan was in my mind growing up. And if Ric Flair wasn't on that program, we weren't allowed to watch it. So we started out watching NWA, and then it turned into WCW, and then we watched the beginning of the Monday Nitro, and then we switched over to WWF.
Yeah, baby. Yes, sir.
And then when he came back, we watched WCW again. That was like '94, and so we were watching that, but we switched back. But we weren't able to watch WWF at the time in the household that I lived in, and so I grew up on like blonde-haired Sting, and then he turned Crow Sting, and then we watched all the way. I remember very vividly watching the very last match of Monday Nitro, and it was a very emotional time in my house. My great grandfather who just got me into wrestling had just passed away, and I watched that. Ooh. So I stopped watching wrestling until about 2004, and I picked up and started watching ROH. I didn't watch the WWE Attitude not Attitude Era. I didn't watch it, by the way. I had to sneak and watch it if I wanted to watch it, so I didn't watch it. And
poor thing, man. You poor thing. Although honestly, the WWE or the WCW Golden Era, man, that's tough to beat. Like Sting, like Surfer Boy Sting was one of my favorites, man. I love Beach Boy Sting.
Yeah, he was awesome. And then before Lex Luger jumped to WWF and then came back, he was awesome. He was the NWA TV champion. Yeah, he was awesome during that period. Looked awesome, but he didn't have that baby oil on him. He just looked like $1 million. And then whenever he got to WWF, he looked like $100 million. But yeah, I skipped the John Cena, Eddie Guerrero, Kurt Angle. I skipped all that and started watching ROH. In about 2004, I was illegally downloading it, and got so many computer viruses on my parents. I think it was Sun something, Scan some. I can't remember the website, but we were just illegally downloading everything back then. But that's where I started watching wrestling again, and I got back out of it as an adult, and I picked it up to watch something with my son who was growing up at the time. And I was like, hey, my grandfather got me into watching wrestling. I can watch wrestling with my son. We picked up, and CM Punk, speaking of CM, now, but he was the WWF, and he had that feud with The Rock, and I picked back up then. And what actually got me into professional wrestling is me and my friends, we started watching all the big four pay-per-views together, and we were watching a ton of wrestling. Like, we were quizzing each other on what we were watching. And I mean, Mondays was Raw, Tuesdays was ROH at the time, because this was pre-2016. So we were watching, when we started, it was pre-2016, but this lasted until pandemic. And I was on Facebook, and I pulled up an ad that says, "You want to become a pro wrestler?" I clicked on it, and it was a place down the road from my house. Core Professional Wrestling was doing trainings. And at the time, sessions were $5 a session. And I remember very much going on a family vacation, leaving to go to training for $5. And they didn't even touch me. The ring beat the shit out of me. And I was just doing flips and everything. I was smoking menthol cigarettes at the time. And I got back to the camp with my family, and I handed my cousin the menthol cigarettes. I said, "Man, I'm done." They was like, "What happened?" I was like, "I was puking green slime. They just had me hit the ropes, and the ring beat me up." But it was right at the tail end of the pandemics when I got into wrestling.
Very cool.
That's awesome.
Well, man, speaking of, I guess we'll get to this later in sports, but definitely we got to talk about big news out of the wrestling world last night. A ton of big returns at Survivor Series.
I didn't even have to watch it, and I knew about all the returns. It was all on Facebook.
It was a big deal, man. It was a big deal. People have been waiting.
On Killings is back.
Exactly. R-Truth, baby. Who we were all waiting for, man. R-Truth.
I love it. R-Truth. 2-time heavyweight champion, baby.
Well, hey, you're almost at your. I believe you made a post on Facebook. You're almost to that 100 mark, and you should beat it before January 1st. Is that right?
Yeah. It'll be a year and 6 months, January 1st, and on December 30th, I'll have my 100th match for Unified Wrestling Oklahoma and Tuttle, Oklahoma.
That's amazing. And, man. That's what a grind. That's incredible. Keep up the good work, dude.
That was 70 matches this year because in 2022 I only had 30 matches. So
you've been busting your tail,
made
dude.
A name for yourself. Not just the 100 matches. You've made a name for yourself. Everybody in Wichita, everybody in Leavenworth, places that you are not from, they know who you are.
You're a legend in Leavenworth. It's hilarious, especially the cheese company. Like it's hilarious. They love you, dude. Like you're.
Them, man. I got a T-shirt. I just washed it, and but I've been wearing the T-shirt. I got the T-shirt. I still have the cookie, HCW cookie.
Yeah, those were so cool.
Dude, I ate the first one though. They gave me 2. I ate the first one, and they were amazing.
But they said they were really good.
Yeah, they were amazing. You know, from what Billy Simmons. Every time Billy Simmons puts his input into it, it goes to trash, and you can see it by the cards that are there announcing. Because, if Johnny Faith wasn't there, would there be a title shot? No. He's just putting over Johnny Faith because he's a Billy Simmons boy. Then you got all these guys at the pre-matches like what's that kid's name that did the flip on me? He's another Billy Simmons kid. Hadn't been that was his second match ever, and he's doing flips and dives. Why is he getting a shot at me?
So you would say he's pretty much just getting, what would you call lackeys? He's got lackeys that he's sending at you, just trying to keep you preoccupied. Kind of what's going on.
He is, and then he wants to say, if I win a match, I'll win a match. And when I just got the okay from another person that's head of HCW, but come December 2nd, I've got my rematch finally with Johnny Faith for the Independence. So
let's go.
That text to say it's okay.
So that's been cleared. That's been cleared. You do have the rematch.
Yeah, I do have the rematch. And finally,
let's go, guys. Y'all heard it right there.
I don't have to face 19 other people. I don't have to have a pre-match show match. So I was wore out, bro. I was wore out.
You also don't have to lose a match that you didn't actually get hit in, right? Get beat in.
Oh yeah, Remington Roar.
Yeah, Remington Roar.
I'm just saying, like that's
that match. There was another a fatal 4-way match that I didn't lose again. I know it was a triple threat, and Chance Nancy Boy Kerrigan beat Kargar to win that match. And that's another guy. That's one of Billy Simmons' guys that I don't understand.
Yeah, you're right.
Why he's on the card. And they just announced today he gets a tag team match Are you kidding me? Car guard?
It sounds like to me that Billy might just be getting really creative at scheduling you in matches where he's got some way to get a handicap on you.
He does. And so December 2nd, as long as I don't have another, I probably will get put in. Oh, we know we announced this match, but we're going to do this instead too, Red. I bet you that's what's going to happen.
Now, I don't know if you're comfortable with talking about this yet or not. Say December 2nd comes, you win your match. Who are you calling out first?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Champion versus champion, Remington Roar.
Oh.
Ooh.
Now, will that be like a winner takes both titles type of match? Like you're going to wrestle for his title, he's going to wrestle for yours. Winner takes both.
Or are you just looking to clean up and take titles?
Yeah, let's clean up and take titles. Let's let him pick the title match. Let him.
Man.
That way, it's more enticing for him.
It's about showcasing that you're the better wrestler and the better champion, regardless of what title's on whose shoulders. Am I right?
Exactly. I've already got 3
dude.
Here in Oklahoma. I need all of them up there in Kansas.
Oh,
yeah, I saw that totem pole of titles that you had outside your garage on your luggage.
Do what?
You had the totem pole building up on your luggage bags of titles on your
titles. It looks good.
The Core Professional Wrestling 918 Championship. That's the zip code for here. They have the 918 Championship. Then the Empire Pro Wrestling TV Internet Champion. And then the Red Dirt Wrestling Heavyweight Championship. And that one I take around with me and challenge everybody. I just defended it down in Jesus Christ, middle of nowhere, Arkansas, for Wrestling with Pride.
Nice.
And I think on December 9th, I'm defending it at Native American Wrestling in Chewy, Oklahoma. Like, this place is such in the boondocks, you can't throw a rock without hitting a tree.
But doesn't that just fit, though, the name of the title? I mean, the Red Dirt Champion, you're a champion of the people. You're a champion everywhere, even on the Red Dirt. And man, Oklahoma's rich in that, dude. Like, what a great way to defend and you showcase that title. I love it.
I need you as my hype man.
Rack them up, man. Hey, dude, I tell you what, I have to admit this. I've watched you for a while. You have one of the more compelling personalities in the wrestling community. I love it. You're not afraid to poke the bear. You know, Billy thinking that he's the bear in this situation. But really what it comes down to, man, is what I see in you is you have a youthful energy with a humble wisdom, the way you approach wrestling. And so you like soak everything in like a sponge and then you get to work on it. I don't think I've seen very many people as disciplined and just as grind focused as you have been in this. So it's been fun to watch. So I do have to admit you are on the top of my list in some of the in the indie circles of wrestling. So
I appreciate it. Appreciate it a lot.
Absolutely, dude.
That's why Jordan, I think, really enjoys you also. At
the end of the day, anyone that talks smack to Billy I'm a fan. I'm always a fan.
Me and Billy, we haven't got along for quite a while. It goes back to whenever I first started. I seen him in a locker room, and he just didn't acknowledge me. And I don't even think he remembers that. And so, okay, here you go, Billy. William, he hates that. I found that out. He hates being called William. So
he does. He does. Call him William Joe. William Joe. He hates it. William Joe.
The more people I know that, as I'm talking smack about him, I gather information and then I just message him just randomly, or I tag him on Facebook. He's like, "Hey, Dirty Willie," and then William Joe.
Dirty Willie, I like that. William Joseph. If you go like full Regal on him, it's annoying to him. William Joseph.
I'll hit him with it. As soon as we get done here, I'll tag, "Hey, William Joseph Simmons."
Love it.
Can't wait for December 2nd. It's going to be,
Bro.
I think it's going to be one of the best shows HEW has put on. And I think it's because of the caliber of people that they have in the matches. Honest opinion.
Have they announced any other match? Like, I know that there's a tag team match.
Yeah, they announced that so far, and that's been it so far. But then you just announced this one, and hopefully, if any more comes out before that, then we can either share that on our Facebook or whatnot. But we try to share everything that they post. So, but the first thing that they've announced is the tag team title match, I do believe, isn't it? Or no, that's not a title match. It's just a tag team match.
Yeah, it's just a tag match. It's gonna be a good one, though.
Oh yeah.
So I hope so. I hope Billy knows what he's doing as a booker, because I honestly don't think he does. Just as a production guy, yeah, it's got production, but as a booker, I think he's got help.
The issue is he just doesn't know the right people to put in the right matches. Clearly, he's not giving the right guys the right shots at titles. And if he would just, I think he's getting the right people. He's just not giving the right guys the right shots. It's like you said, he's got lackeys that he's giving favorite runs to, and he's treating them a little extra better. And, maybe Red James needs to help begin to open the eyes of the wrestlers in the back that maybe have also been oppressed a little bit.
I've been talking to Chancla Violence or Violencia Paz. I've been talking to them.
Violencia de Paz.
I think they're in agreement with me. I think that they're, they come down. We trained together for a day, and they went back up to Kansas while they were down here for. They were doing something, and they contacted me. I don't know what, but I was talking to them about how Billy does stuff, and they were like, "Yeah," but I think they're too wrapped up in what. Hey.
There does seem to be a little bit of dissension going on in the Empire right now. It's a little messy. It's a little messy over there right now. However, you gotta wonder, is that because Billy's pulling some strings, or is he causing chaos wherever he I think about it like the NFL with Roger Goodell. You're always wondering what's that dude up to, really? Like, we're always suspicious of that dude. Maybe we need to be a little more suspicious of Billy.
It's only $1 billion non-profit company. I mean, so you're even wearing their one of their things, right? I mean, non-profit. Yeah. Look at us, non-profit.
Yeah, non-profit. Yeah, they make a lot of profit off of us.
Yeah. But I can't wait. Johnny Faith, he gave me a few shots that I enjoyed, and wrestling, styles are subjective, and mine's no pomp and pizzazz, and neither is he did hit me with a grenade from the top rope. I mean, from middle or top rope, but took the wind out of me. But that's all the wind I had after starting first in that 20-man battle royal and or rumble. It was rumble style, and having that other match. But his Johnny Faith's style of wrestling is not pomp and pizzazz either, and it's to get our hands on each other and taste the blood in your mouth. I enjoy that. Unfortunately, that's what I enjoy. And I've hit the curtain before, and people say, "Hey, we're going to beat the out of you," and it was like, "Oh, okay, so we're going to get in the ring and throw hands." And sure enough, I found out we're going to throw hands. But the same thing happened in Arkansas. A guy was just talking about how he was going to punch me in the mouth. I said, "I'll give you $20. You punch me in the mouth." He never got to. So, but I enjoy the style of Johnny Faith. So I hope I know I'm going to come out victorious, and I'm going to add another belt, another championship belt, and that belt, that Independence Championship belt. You can't, like I said, Billy Simmons does have production. He's got production down. The championship titles, his heavyweight championship, his Sunflower championship for the women, and now this Independence. I can't wait to see what his tag team championship belts are going to look. Championship titles, belts, I don't know what you call them. But that Independence championship is gorgeous. It is nice. Heavy, and it is gorgeous.
It's a cool sight to see. If you haven't looked it up, make sure you jump on the socials and check it out because it's a nice belt. So, Red, it's going to be on your shoulder after December 2nd. Is that so?
I don't like it being around my shoulder. I like to either carry it or I like to put it around my waist traditionally.
Okay, you're a waist guy. You're a traditional waist guy. Okay.
You know, you
like
fold it in place and you hold it up by your arm and it's crossed like that. I enjoy that. I don't like putting it over the shoulder. I think it's tacky. Too many people have been doing this since Stone Cold. And so put it around your waist or carry it like a real champ, one or the other.
Well, you seem like you might be a diamond ring wearing, I can't do the whole thing, but having a little trouble holding them gators down, Red.
I got
it's diamond ring wearing, Rolex wearing. Gosh, Rolex I can't do the whole thing.
Kiss stealing, wheeling, dealing.
Get it, baby, get it.
And I'm having a hard time
holding these gators down. Love me some Ric Flair.
Oh yeah.
Well, guys, make sure you check it out. December 2nd, Wreck the Halls, Osage Recreational Center, Wichita, Kansas. Doors open at 5. Bell rings at 6. Don't miss it. You're going to love this. It's going to be a great show. Red James will be there. He's going to be kicking butt, winning titles, apparently. So we're going to see. Billy may be pulling some strings to make that a little difficult. We're going to find out. But I can tell you this much. You don't want to miss that show. It's going to be a blast.
Bring a toy.
Yeah, absolutely. Facts. Bring a toy. Get your chance to win that replica title.
I might bring 10.
There you go.
I'm going to stop off at the Dollar Tree.
But hey, man, how was your Thanksgiving, Red?
Oh, man, it was awesome. It's not a secret. One of my best friends is Sam Stackhouse, and we got together and we had Thanksgiving. I deep fried a turkey. He's a great cook himself, and he made all the sides. And another friend of ours came over and made some awesome cranberry sauce. Like, I never eat cranberry sauce. I was putting that on everything. And then
cool.
That was the Wednesday. And then on Thursday, I had my family Thanksgiving with my family and mom, dad, all of them, and had a good Thanksgiving. Got to see my sisters. I got 3 older sisters. I'm the baby, and I got to see them. So it was a good Thanksgiving. How about yourself?
Well, I've never fried a turkey, but this year we had chicken and noodles. So that's what the wife decided to make. We had the whole family over at my house. Too many people in one small living quarters is not something that I usually am down for. I work in a prison, so I don't like confined areas with a ton of people. That's just the nature of the beast. But we pulled it off, and the wife killed it with making chicken and noodles. Everybody was full. But I do want to try the fried turkey next year, and I have I just ordered some of Dano's Primo seasoning that I'm gonna use as my I guess seasoning before I put like the oil on it. I'll put the oil on it, and then I'm gonna prime it up with the Primo on the Dano's, and I'm gonna deep fry that sucker.
Inject it also. Get you some melted butter, or they make a pre-package.
Tony Shashers, baby.
Yeah, Tony.
Yes, sir. The Tony Shashers, the injectable Cajun butter. Oh yeah. It's absolutely delicious.
I think I'm gonna try that next year.
I injected mine with the Tonys, and then I injected it. That makes 2 cups of butter, and then I injected it with another cup of ranch dressing, and then I put the oil on it, and I doused it in Dano's.
Flavor.
That's brilliant to inject it with the ranch,
bro.
I never thought about doing that.
It was a game changer.
What a next level move!
But yeah, I seen somebody on TikTok. I get the ideas from TikTok, but
Same.
It's 3 to 4 minutes a pound. If you got a bigger bird, go 4 minutes a pound. Mine was 14 pounds. I did 3 minutes a pound, but I've also done 28-pound birds, and that's when I do the 4 minutes. But 4 minutes a pound if you're above 14. If you're 14 and less, 3 minutes. Inject it, cover it with Dano's, bro. I used regular old cooking oil, vegetable oil this year. Last year I used peanut oil. The oil does make a difference.
Yeah, that's what I've always read about, like the heat that like it just heats up better is the peanut oil. But yeah. I'm wanting to try that Primo really bad. It's the black pepper, black cumin, black salt, black I think it's black cumin. I said cumin. There's another seasoning. It's all like instead of using the blackened Saskatchewan seasoning, I don't know if you've ever used that,
Yeah.
but it's supposed to make up for that to make it more natural instead of using activated charcoal. So I'm pretty intrigued by the way that he came up with the spices to mix into it to make it all black. So that's really what I'm hoping for.
I put Danos on everything, just like Red's hot sauce. What is that?
Yeah,
Is
Frank's Red Hot Sauce.
Frank's Red Hot sauce? I put that shit on everything.
I put
Bro,
Tony's on everything. The seasoning.
I do Tony's in a lot. My mind was so blown to find out how buffalo sauce is basically just Frank's Red Hot sauce and butter mixed together. And now I'm like playing around with it. I'm doing like Frank's and then a little bit of butter and then like some ranch powder mix and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm getting my buffalo sauce to like near my favorite, like to where I love it. Oh, I'm so excited.
Nothing will ever top my favorite buffalo sauce, and that's at Hooters. Like, I'm not a big fan of like chicken wings at restaurants, but Hooters, their original bone-in wings with the 3 Mile Island buffalo sauce, nothing beats it. Nothing beats it.
Yeah.
And I can't find a mock recipe online nowhere. I've looked up and down and nothing. Everybody says that there's something off about it.
Best mock recipe that I've ever had was off of TikTok again, and it was chicken. It was KFC chicken fried steaks, but they made chicken fried pizza, and we made that one time. You make chicken fried steaks and you push them together and put pesto down instead of tomato sauce, and then you put mozzarella cheese and then your toppings, and then you melt the cheese.
Chicken parm. It's like KFC chicken parm.
Yeah,
that sounds amazing.
It was amazing. That was the best mock recipe because I guess KFC did that years ago, and that was the best mock recipe that I've come across.
Rage Beef Jerky is a sponsor of the Chubby Buddies podcast, and they were our first sponsor. They reached out after episode 1 and said, "Hey, we want to support you guys on what you were doing," and with open arms, we were so happy. I mean, before then they were the Primal Beef Jerky, but now they've recently changed to Rage Beef Jerky. Hopefully, before too long, they'll be dropping their meat sticks, which Joshua there is snacking on. They're the best meat sticks I've ever had, especially the peppered. So make sure that when they do go live on their website that you're checking them out. But they can be found in 5 states across 400 plus stores. And if you are not in those 5 states or 400 plus stores, you can go to www.ragebeefjerky.com and snatch you up any flavor of which they sell, which is 6 solid bold flavors. And using a promo code Chubby saves you what, Joshua?
15%. And this ain't no Geico deal right here. This is 15% off of high quality beef jerky, okay? Like real grade A good beef, okay? 15% off. That's code Chubby, CHUBBY at ragebeefjerky.com.
And make sure you're following them on Facebook, Instagram. They have both of those. I don't think they have TikTok yet, but they do have Facebook and Instagram, and they're, like we said, visit their website. And if you reach that $50 cap, you save even more money by getting free shipping, which is the equivalent of using our code, and the free shipping is 1 free bag of beef jerky.
Yeah, we all know I'm the nerd. I did the math early on. We figured it out. That 15% plus the free shipping, you're getting a free bag of jerky when you order it that way. So you're welcome. That free bag of jerky's on us, because the reason the Chubby Buddies been our sponsor from day one is because it's called the Chubby Buddies podcast, because this podcast is really about one thing. Friends who love good food. We love snacks. And beef jerky, Rage Beef Jerky in particular, is one of the best snacks you can get your hands on. And you can get your hands on them right now at ragebeefjerky.com.
And it's Christmas. Don't be stingy. Get your man some beef jerky.
Great Christmas gift right here.
Oh, man.
Nice.
But Josh, how was your Thanksgiving?
Man, it was good. We had kind of like a quiet one. Heather's parents hosted, so we didn't have to host Thanksgiving for first time in a while. And so, man, we went over to their house, made a couple of sides, helped clean up, play some board games, and then went home. Like, House was clean. It was nice.
That
dude.
is the worst. I will admit that is the worst. And it's not even me cleaning it up. And I'll be honest, like I don't want to do it, but I see my wife getting like stressed out about it, and like she passed out right after everybody left, right?
Yeah.
And I was tired, so I didn't want to do it. I mean, if I was a good husband, I would have stayed up late. But apparently, I'm a terrible husband, and I went to bed with her, and then I had to work the next morning. But hey, you know what? I made breakfast this morning, so
There you go, buddy.
there's
It's
that.
the little things.
It is the little things. But no, me and Red actually live within. You live 3 hours in Tulsa, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you're 3 hours away from where I live. Yesterday, I called Josh and let him know, hey, dude, it's snowing like crazy here in Hutchinson, Kansas, okay? And what I just found out is that we haven't had this much snowfall since Josh and I graduated high school.
Yeah,
2006.
that's crazy.
Oh yeah, I remember me and Josh. We were talking about. We were all 2006 guys. We were.
Yeah, we're all basically the same age. It was really funny. Like,
okay.
A ton of the wrestlers there at the last Leavenworth show were all basically right around 30, 35, 36 years old.
Yeah,
it's kind of funny.
We all graduated 2005, 06, and 07.
05, 06, 07. Yeah, there was a couple of 07s. Yeah.
Yeah. But,
so I mean, just the snowfall here is crazy. And I saw that in Oklahoma, I think it was Oklahoma City, they had like a 40-car pileup on.
Oh,
I think it was like right off of I-70. I don't know if that's the exact area, but I knew it was Oklahoma City area. Is that 70?
I just go by Google. I don't even remember streets anymore. I'm traveling around. I don't
That's
like.
fair.
I know how to get there pretty much, but I don't know. It's like, oh, pass by the farts and queefs sign, and I'll be good. But but I don't remember much about what. I think there's There's a Highway 75 south in Oklahoma City that goes up to y'all too, north to y'all. But here in Tulsa, we didn't get nothing.
Really?
Rain. That's it. Rain.
see, we didn't even get that, man. It was 45. It was 45 and sunny yesterday.
Did you get my videos I sent you, Josh?
I did. That was nuts, man. That was hilarious. And then
Did you
Mom
get
and Dad sent pictures afterwards of like after it had been falling for a while, after there was like 4 or 5 inches down. It was nuts, man.
I've shoveled the sidewalks at work 4 times before I went home, and there was still like 2 inches on the ground when I left. So I was like, I'm not doing this 5th time. It's Friday.
A wrestler who helped train me named Rob Cabela when I first started, but he's in a band now that's doing pretty good, and they're traveling around. He's in Wichita, and they were talking 9 inches of snow, and I was like, what? And
8.5 here.
Yeah,
and they closed the airport. They closed the airport in Wichita.
Whoa,
that never happened.
Remember whenever Las Vegas shut down for a half inch of snow?
Texas, they shut down Texas. People were killing themselves bringing their propane tanks into their house.
Bro, so we went down last year about February whenever Texas shut down. Me and Sam were riding along together, and we had to go to Houston. And we went from Tulsa to Houston at like 40 miles per hour because of how bad. Actually, once we got past Dallas, it's normally a 4-hour trip from Tulsa to Dallas, but it took 8 hours, and because we were going 40 miles per hour on the turnpike because it was so bad. And that was right whenever Texas was shutting down and flooding because of all the snow. And then it took us another 8 hours to get to Houston. And Sam, he used to be a truck driver, and he's a phenomenal driver. But just cars piled up with sand dunes, snow dunes everywhere. It was wild.
Yeah, you mentioned Sam Stackhouse. He gave Josh an autographed poster. He follows our. Was it Sam that gave it?
That wasn't Sam. That was Matt.
Oh, that was Matt. Okay, Matt Stockdale.
Yep.
My bad.
Matt Stockdale.
Okay. I mix those two up every single time. What's that?
That's a guy I want to call out. Like that dude, the way he was hitting those ropes and hitting those turnbuckles and laying it down on Aaron Helms. I'm like, yeah, let's just slap some meat, bro. Like,
bro, could you imagine throwing a couple of flare chops on that big old canvas?
Oh,
you can make some pops. You can make some pops. Ooh.
Ooh, what is the worst chop you've ever taken, Red? I want to.
Yeah,
Because
that's a
the ones
great
that I
question.
heard you take, at Wake the Dead, I
Matt
think it was.
James, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, those were the
Oh my lord!
Those?
I felt
Okay,
those.
there you go.
I
those,
felt those.
and
Like when I heard them, my eyes got huge. I was like, "What was that?"
yeah.
I didn't know that was a chop. I turned and saw it. I was like, "Oh wow!"
So there's a guy. I made a list. It was Mike James, Tommy Dean, and
Mike who?
Mike James. And that
Never mind.
is
I was hoping you would. I was hoping you play
Mike
along with Mike
James.
Jones, but
Mike
it's all
James.
good.
Jones.
Mike
Who?
Mike James?
But Mike James, Tommy Dean, and there was a third one there. I can't remember, but he's lost the list. I just wrestled this guy named Steve-O, and he double hand chopped me, and I had fingerprints on my collarbones right here.
My.
He's wow.
Oh.
And I pushed him out of the way as hard as I could, and I went to the other corner, and he came back, pop,
On the back. Oh,
right back on the
No,
collarbone.
across the
Oh,
chest
okay.
again.
And
oh man.
I
Oh,
went,
brutal.
and he got me a third time, and there was blood marks. But he's number 2, so Tommy Dean's down to number 3. But
Did you save those receipts?
yeah. I got him with the low blow, but he's got 2 more coming.
There you go.
But
the only other one I've heard worse than the ones I heard you take was me and Josh were down in Amarillo for a show once, and we were talking about this guy that was given chops, and he's known for chopping somebody so hard that they cough up blood. So
Yeah,
I don't know who takes the worst
Kip was
ones,
brutal.
but yeah, he's just known for giving just the perfect chop to make you like knock like a lung loose.
I do gotta say, beyond the bump and the rope running, I feel like the flare chop might be next in line for just that's like one of the first experiences or one of the like defining experiences of learning to wrestle is learning how to take a chop. Oh,
there used to be, right as soon as I was getting into wrestling, and it changed, the training's changed. There's probably some still schools that do it, but there was this thing called the chop line in training, and you would take a chop from everyone. Boom, boom,
heck
boom, boom.
yeah, baby.
And, as soon as I started it, because it was in the pandemic and everything was shutting down, it was at the tail end of it, but it was still the pandemic, and things were changing. And
Gotcha.
I didn't catch it. My trainers told me about it, but I have been in a chop line though. It was like, oh, hey, hook up, let's go. And so you don't tell people it's your birthday in wrestling, or you're going to have to get chopped. And and you don't tell them, hey, that's my mom out there in the crowd. You don't do that.
Ooh.
You're going to get chopped in front of your mama. But yeah, so I ought, like, to me, honestly, whenever I get loaded up in the corner in training, I'm like, there's no chops in training. If you're going to do it, you better take it. And
yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that people's opinions change real quick whenever you're in that corner and they load you up and you go, you're going to get it back, boy. And they're like, so then they go into something else. So
then they shift, put their shoulder into you, grab your arm, and start to throw you out of the corner.
Oh yeah,
like,
yeah.
Okay, never mind. We're gonna switch this up. Do a corner to corner splash.
It's too cold.
When the toothless country boy tells you you gonna get it back, and they're like,
I couldn't imagine taking chops outside in the cold, like for an outside show, and it's like maybe 40, 50 degrees. Like that's got to be the worst.
Billy can tell you some stories of that. He's done some outside shows where it's Here's what I remember. I remember I couldn't get past the instinctual like curl
Lynching.
in and try to protect yourself from it.
Right.
Yeah.
Like that was the part that I struggled so much with because I wanted to guard like every time. And it's you literally to take a good shot, you got to stick your chest out, barrel chest it, and like just create a perfect flat surface so that sound can pop.
And it hurts less when you do that too. I think.
Oh my
I think
gosh,
when you flinch, it hurts even more.
Truly, like, a good chop's still gonna hurt.
Right. Yeah, but like when you
But-
flinch, like you're hitting more than the area they're aiming for. Like you're getting
And
like part of the
and
collarbone.
Red, would you agree that if you puff your chest out like that, it's a lot harder for them to knock the wind out of you with a chop?
Yeah. There's a lot of things they don't teach
I
you.
feel like there's a lot with that helps. But man, your instinct is to go, oh God, no, oh.
Yeah, that's the reason why I hook. So whenever they're like, "Hey, it's coming," you're like, ugh, "Here we go." That way, my chest is out, my hands can't guard me. I'm here, pop, pop,
Smart.
and
Oh,
so it's there.
so smart.
Because I've had the wind knocked out of me several times doing all kinds of stuff, and so you hear me talk a lot in the ring. You hear me talk to the crowd a lot in the ring. You hear me yelling a lot in the ring. Well, it's because I don't want the wind knocked out of me. That's that's it. You listen to guys in Japan do their they're blowing air in, they're sucking air out. Blowing air out, sucking air in. And so when they hit, boy, it's not knocking the wind out of you. You learn how to fight properly, and that's one of them.
Do you think if you ever get the chance, do you think you'll do a tour in Japan?
Oh man, I would love to. I would love to do a tour in Japan. I watched a lot of in about 2004 to 2000. Yeah, I watched a lot of Japanese wrestling. DDT, Pro Wrestling Noah, and New Japan.
Sure, yeah.
I watched the women's wrestling. I forget Star. I forget the name, but I watched a lot of wrestling. I was just talking to I don't know if you guys know him because he's not up there yet. Chris Morrison, Brawler Morrison. But he was talking about a company he's getting the privilege to wrestle for down in Mexico. And he was like, "Do you know of them?" I was like, "Yeah, they do the junkyard wrestling. They're in a junkyard. They set up a ring in a junkyard with broke down cars and everything." And he's like, "You watch luchador hardcore wrestling?" I was like, "Bro, I watch it a lot."
You are a genuine fan of wrestling. So
Yeah, man.
Well,
cool.
I would say that the only wrestling that I like, what me and Josh really watched, was just the stuff that we did, and then also we would do just like you guys did. We did the pay-per-views like every Sunday. Like I don't think we did all of the major four, but it was regular that it was on the Sunday, like the Sunday night, like the obviously WrestleMania.
We did all of the major. So I will say this: for our childhood, we were definitely WWE, WCW, Attitude Era, flipping back and forth between them. So all 4 hours of wrestling. I know we talked about. We didn't watch a ton of like ECW or
TNA.
the peripheral ones, stuff like that. But we did know a lot about them, and we did hear a lot about them and talked a lot about them. We just didn't have access to watch them as much. ECW was a little too violent, and we didn't have anybody that could get us access.
Back in the day, we had to go pick up that box when you got the pay-per-view. You had to go pick up the box and then put in the code. And Josh had this memorable TV.
Oh gosh, yeah.
Yeah, that memorable TV with the stoplights in
projection TV, but it was an old school, like you pulled out like this big mirror, and there were the three blue lights, and it would project onto the mirror and then onto the screen. And it looked good, like it was big. It was cool. But it was really retro. But I do remember, man, like every pay-per-view, we'd get that DVR box and we'd all chip in money together and just everybody crowd around and watch 3 hours of wrestling, man. And it you follow those storylines, man. I will forever be a Shawn Michaels fanatic. Like that's me. Like
yeah.
I love me. Oh, dude, he's Mr. WrestleMania. He's showstopper.
He wasn't my cup of tea. Great performer, not gonna lie, but he just wasn't my cup of tea for the time.
Sure.
I say he's not my cup of tea, but then again, I'm a hardcore fan of AJ Styles. You put them side by side, it's like,
yeah, there you go, AJ Styles, yeah.
Yeah, so I can't really
very similar.
But so I said I had to sneak in and watch because I didn't have cable on my TV. My sister had cable on her TV. So I had to sneak into her room whenever WWF would re-air their stuff at 11. And she would have to sleep, and I had to turn the volume off to watch it. And then right after that on TNT was ECW. So if I didn't get caught before then, I would flip it over to TNT to watch. Not TNT. It was TNN. It was TNN.
Yeah,
so I'd flip it over to
TNN. Yeah, TNN.
Oh,
before it was Spike TV.
No, go ahead.
yeah, that's right.
And I had to flip it over to it to watch ECW whenever it was on. And that's how I watched those. And I didn't really I didn't know The Rock's voice until I got older. I didn't like Mankind. I thought he was like he barked and growled, but I also didn't register in my mind as a child that it was Cactus Jack. Like,
right, yeah. That's just the same dude. That's Cactus Jack. That's Dude Love. Yeah, that's the same guy.
Well, one thing that blows my mind about Mick Foley in general is that him and Kevin James were on the exact same high school wrestling team.
Kevin James?
Yeah.
Really?
I was, yeah. Here, I'll find it and I'll send you the link. But I thought Mick Foley was just really like much older than Kevin James, but they're only like 2 years apart, 3 years apart.
Mick Foley is just weather worn from giving literally every ounce of himself to the sport of wrestling. Like, that man is a legend when it comes to like nobody. And this is the thing, man. Red, you talk about like missing out on certain things. Does that mean you missed out on the Mankind Undertaker Hell in a Cell match? Those are some of like the defining moments of my wrestling like history of everything that I know about wrestling. You know, that seeing Taker throw Mankind off of the cell and then Mankind get back up, climb back up, and then go through the center of the cell, bro, like that changed everything for me. I don't even know how to explain it. Like, that blew my mind.
I
sent you that link, Josh.
The first Hell in a Cell match that I watched. Oh, I think I do know the Kevin James story. The comedian Kevin James. My first Hell in a Cell, I remember it was Triple H and Mankind. So I missed that. So I thought the Mankind and Triple H was the shit, dude. That was my very first one that I ever watched. I didn't know that existed until I was an adult. And I went back and rewatched it all, of course. But no, that wasn't. And I, like, in my mind, I thought the Hogan Sting match was great until I got older. And then I was like, oh, crap, this is horrible. But,
well, in your mind, though, that's two icons going up against each other. So at that age, I know for me, I didn't care how good they wrestled. I cared that it was these guys going against each other. As I got older, I learned the skills of wrestling and the technicals. And so now I watch guys like The Miz and Dolph Ziggler. And, you know, The Miz, his ability to work a microphone is bar none one of the best in the business. Like, love The Miz and his microphone work. Dolph Ziggler, I think, is a modern day Chris Benoit with all of his technicality and what he can do. I mean, like, you've got so many amazing, talented wrestlers that are stock. Like, another one that I am a huge fan of that I love watching now, seeing him kind of showcase his own person, his own spin on it, Cody Rhodes with the American Nightmare scheme. Yeah. I love this routine with him. Like, what a great spin on the Dusty Rhodes, American Dream bit. And, oh, man, I just, like, wrestling is, it's definitely a part of my childhood and definitely a part of so much of who I've grown up to be.
I can remember my first pay-per-view that I ever watched. It was with my uncle. And it was the Owen Hart match, the one where he passed away, and it cut away.
Seriously?
It cut away. Yeah, it was the very first one.
That was your
that
first
I ever saw,
one?
that I remember watching as a kid. But, like, what I remember from it is that what happened on that pay-per-view is the exact same that happened during the halftime show with Janet Jackson and Justin Timberlake. It just cut off and went black.
The cutaway?
What? Yeah, because nobody knew what happened. We were just sitting there in the living room, and I was in fourth
we
grade.
knew what happened in the Super Bowl. We all saw
Yeah,
it.
we knew what happened.
We knew what happened
like,
there.
Wrestling, you just assumed that it was a part of the show, and it was like,
Owen's
whoa.
tragedy, I think, is that's one of those things that I don't know anybody from the wrestling community that isn't gutted by that. Like, because that's like tragedy beyond tragedy.
Dude, going to work, doing something that he loved, and passed away at work. I mean, that's horrible. That's horrible.
Well, and to me, if you know much about how it went down, even as Owen was falling, he was telling people to clear out of the way. He didn't want to hurt anybody on the way down. He would even knowing he was about to. I mean, come on, man! Like, you're not falling like that thinking. I don't know. Maybe he thought he could survive it, but the fact that some of the last words out of his mouth was, "Hey, clear out of the way. Watch out, watch out." It's
wild. I'm excited to see what they do with that movie that's coming out with I forgot his name. The guy that
with
was
Zac
in,
Efron and
that looks very
doing the
looks very much.
Oh, come on,
that I would be
the
into.
wrestling family for
the
Von
brothers.
Erichs
the Von Erichs. Yeah, there's only one that's
right?
still alive. Yep.
So whenever Flair was in WWF, I used to have this TV tray, and it had Big Boss Man, Undertaker. I forget the fourth man, but was Kerry Von Erich, and I fell in.
Nice. Okay.
It was the Texas Tornado, and he was on this TV tray that I had, and I remember falling in love with it. I was like, "Man, look at that guy! And I had no idea he was the Von Erichs, and I remember him being the Intercontinental Champion. I was like, "Yeah, that guy's awesome!" And then we were gone, but I remember I could never remember who that guy was until later on in life. And then I was like, that's Kerry Von Erich that was on that TV tray that I was idolizing. And I like the Von Erichs, their story's so horrible, but what they've done in the ring, I mean, all of them, they were, imagine what wrestling would be like right now if they were all still around, if they were all in the Hall of Fame together right now.
Oh gosh,
still alive, and what they had done and what they had done back then, like, oh my goodness.
I mean, didn't they start like a whole federation in Texas that led to like a merger?
They were. They had that the sportatorium and everything, and it was pretty much going to be WCW before then, and once they all started passing away from horrible instances, it just dwindled down. It ran a couple of years after that, and Kerry worked WCW a couple times, and then it was over.
Yeah.
It'll be a good movie, though, for sure.
Yeah, that will be good.
So you brought up
go ahead.
Law earlier. So I got this thing that I can't do because of Chris Benoit.
Okay.
I'm not allowed to get autographs from wrestlers because I've got 2 wrestlers' autographs, and I'm no longer allowed to get wrestlers' autographs. The first being, whenever I was a child, was Chris Benoit.
Oh, man.
Second being Joey Ryan.
Seriously?
Seriously. So
okay. Fair.
After that, I'm no longer allowed to get autographs at all. So I'm cut off.
It's not you, Red, but I also understand. I understand.
Like, I don't want anybody.
But it's not you, bro. It's not you, but also I understand.
Timing has a lot to do with that. So like I could see I see where you're coming from, but like I couldn't imagine if it was like the next week. You know what I mean? Like you got it one week and then the next week, like I could see how like that would be very like I would probably rip up those autographs.
It is not the same level. I want to be clear, but I went through something similar with Chiefs jerseys. Because every time I would get a player's jersey, within a year, they would get traded or would get like career-ending injuries.
Here's one thing I don't understand about like professional wrestling fans and not professional football fans is whenever they get traded or they sign with another team because they're getting more money, fans get mad and they're burning these jerseys. It's like, all right, so if Joe next door gets a better job, you're going to like burn his grass? Like, what are you going to do here? I get I get pulling the numbers off the jersey or pulling the stitching out or whatever and just having a Chiefs jersey, but burning it because
the only one losing is you, the one burning whatever it is. You're the only one losing.
The only exception to that is situations like Brett Favre, where he went to the Vikings.
Oh man, I like. Okay,
if you go to if you go to a division rival after being a part of a team's legacy for so many years, I could understand being a little angry about that.
But didn't he retire and then go back?
Yeah, he
retired
and then went to the
Jets. No, he retired, then went to the Jets, then retired from the Jets, then went to the Vikings.
Oh, I don't even remember retiring.
Had success with the Vikings and then hung it up.
Huh.
But it was.
Oh yeah.
Oh.
So I was a Brett Favre fan, and when he first retired, I was like, I don't like the Packers anymore. I don't like the Packers. So I've been a Bears fan ever since.
Oh, I'm sorry. That must be just as miserable for you.
Bro, it's been bad. It's been bad. We went to the Super Bowl one time since then. And in 06, we went to the Super Bowl in 06. And then, nope, that's it, man. We fired Lovie Smith with a winning season because he didn't beat the Packers both times. He had a winning season, went to the playoffs, won the division, still fired him. Haven't been the same. Great. So that's where I'm at with professional football.
I have a couple of Bears friends that are Bears fans. So you're not the first person I've heard that's had some bitter words about Bears leadership and some of the choices they've made over the years.
Well, until y'all got your coach, I mean, that was the defining moment. I mean, y'all lost Joe Montana back in the day.
Yeah,
and then
bro.
You guys went through the East. Oh God, that was.
I know those dry spells. I grew up watching Derek Thomas, so I grew up watching those early 90 days of being good enough, but not quite good enough. If you know what I mean.
2003.
Yes. Yep. So good enough to get to the playoffs, but not good enough to win one in the playoffs. And that freaking stretch of 20 years plus where we hadn't won a playoff game.
Yeah.
92, 93 was your last one, and then
I think
Big Vermill took you guys in 2003.
Is that? I don't think that's right. I think it's 97 to 2017.
That was the last. Oh, win is what you mean.
Yeah, the last win, playoff, or no, AFC. Was it playoff win or AFC championship win?
Well, AFC championship you went to was in 93, I think, with Montana. Or 92.
The year that we lost to the Colts with Alex Smith was the year that we were trying to finally get back to the AFC championship. And we had won, I think we had won bye-week games, but we had not won a playoff game. Or I say bye-week, not bye-week, wild card week. We'd won wild card week games, but we had not won a playoff game in 20 years. So I will take the golden era of Kansas City right now because I was born and raised in the dry spell of Kansas City. I remember the days. I will say this. I remember the Elvis Gerbach days. If that tells you anything.
That's a good one. Yeah, I remember the Elvis Gerbach. Yeah, there you go, baby. That's
Elvis Gerbach. But he's still the only quarterback for the Chiefs to throw for over 500 yards in a game.
Shut it, Bobby. Huh? Shut it.
Well, Jake, I mean, he holds all the quarterback records.
There you go.
I was like, he's the one who got me into smoking. I thought it was cool, man. Jay Cutler down on the field with a cigarette. But yeah, this is my pregame.
Cutler was an old school dude because, the other cool thing about Cutler is Cutler was a type 1 diabetic. So that man was out there kicking butt while also regularly checking his insulin and doing all that.
Well, he didn't find out until like years after he came into the NFL because like he was losing a ton of weight. So he was a fun guy to watch, though. Like
everybody was saying he was on drugs while he was getting thinner. Turned out he was sick.
On steroids. Type 1 diabetes. You don't lose weight on steroids, I don't think.
Yeah.
Now, I will say this: the Cutler Orton trade.
Yeah.
That genuinely was one of the better trades for both of those organizations. Now, I don't know that Denver really got much out of Kyle Orton, but I feel like the Bears got
just one
a
season.
lot out of Cutler.
Just one season.
Well, wasn't that
all?
Wasn't that during the same period as the Christian quarterback?
Tebow?
Orton was traded. Well, Orton got traded after Manning left. Because that was after Cutler.
So Kyle Orton ultimately, didn't he lose his spot to Tim Tebow? Is that the idea?
No, he came in after I thought Manning retired and took over, and then he got traded down to Texas.
Let me look.
He left after one season with the Broncos
because he took them to the playoffs.
Yeah, he took him to the playoffs.
Playoff game, and then he was traded.
Well, no, they wouldn't give him a contract big enough that he would be okay with. So he went down to Texas because they gave him the contract he wanted. But I don't think that was with Tebow, though. That was after Tebow because Tebow got traded after they picked up Manning. He lost his starting role
to Tim Tebow during the 2011 season and then was released by the team.
Oh, wow.
And then the Chiefs picked him up the next year from waivers.
Oh, worth it. Okay,
I do remember that. He was with us for a year.
Who am I thinking?
That was one of those. I don't know if you love it when your team does this, but I love it when the Chiefs pick up a play. I hate it when it's done to us. Like when Jamal Charles signed for 1 year with the Broncos, it killed me. But I love it when we do it to another team. When we take one of their players and make them one of ours for a year. Oh, I love it when
especially
we do
if
that.
they do
it's
good.
So fun.
Yeah. And then they're holding you up for money, and they're like, "Man, we're gonna go back to the old ways." Happens.
Yeah, no thanks. But
speaking of
thanks
droughts,
for helping us be successful.
My drought's still longer than the Chiefs. Then 95 was our last drought. Cowboys. I mean,
oh God!
But ours was a playoff drought. Ours was Super Bowl or NFC Championship drought. So I mean,
down here in Oklahoma, all you hear is the reason why I'm not a Cowboys fan or an OU Sooners fan is because all you hear is Boomer Sooner and how about them boys? Sick of it. And I'm an OSU fan. Have been all my life.
Oh, a Cowboys fan. Okay.
I'm an OSU Cowboys
fan. The right kind of Cowboys.
Right. And so when I hear people say, "Oh, I root for OSU when they're not playing OU," shut up. I'm not a hopper. I'm not going to go over there. I just want to see the OU Sooners lose. And nothing against you, Bobby, but I do watch Cowboys games just to text people, go, "Hey, they're losing."
Hey, I am not your average Cowboy fan. I will never say it's our year, and I will never say we them boys or how about them Cowboys. I know what Jerry Jones has done to this organization. I know what we are capable of every year. We are the most talented team every year.
Bobby's a very cynical Cowboys fan.
I am a Cowboys fan because of the football, not because of what we used to be, because I was only really around for two of those, that I can remember watching. So I am a Cowboys fan, but not a Jerry Jones fan, nor am I. I mean, OU, I could care if they win or lose, but when they succeed, I am happy for it because it's money for the Big 12 and it's more stuff for football for me. That's how I see it. But I love football. I don't love OU, and OSU. I'll watch OSU too. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I can't really have a side for a Big 12. When KU beats OU, I'm more happy for KU, obviously.
Oh yeah.
Well, I think everybody's excited when KU wins a game. It's nice. Not basketball. Like football though. We're all like, "Oh yeah, good job, KU."
You sound like my dad about OU, Bobby. He is their defense is trash. They just won by 20 points. I'm not rooting for them, but they just won by 20 points. Their defense is trash. They shouldn't have gave up 14 points. You're not going to get a perfect game every game, but I laugh at that. I love it. I love it. You know, people are that passionate about something. Go for it.
I like talking smack on OU just because Josh and I were raised with a youth minister that just bled OU crimson, right? Just
Die hard Sooner.
He went to bed counting
Mike's a diehard Sooner.
OU Big 12
Victors.
championships. That's what he did.
Yeah.
Like the only other team that could compete with OU back in that day was Nebraska, and now where are they at? They're nowhere to be seen.
Yeah.
So
He would regularly. It was funny because we were a pretty good football team in high school. We were like state champs a couple of years, and he would regularly make sure to tell us, you guys are pretty good for Kansas, but don't go to Oklahoma because they got jinx.
Oklahoma is a different type of football. Okay, I played in Oklahoma.
Denying that. So I'm not denying that, but him and his OU fanaticism is.
Yeah, I mean adding the OU-esque to it is nothing because that's a total different genre of football. But like OU 4A football in Oklahoma is like Kansas's 6A.
Oh, for sure.
I played for Guyman, Oklahoma for just one season, and it was a total different. Like I felt like I was like competing in college ball. Like I was a freshman, but I played on the varsity team. Granted, it's a small team, but the weight regimens that they were down on there, the practices were total different. It was a religion down there. That's what football was. It wasn't a sport. It was a religion in Oklahoma and Texas.
Welcome to the Southern Midwest.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
football is their religion.
When my son was in wrestling, we would go up to Kansas just to beef up the wins. That way, because wrestling and football both in Oklahoma are different from going to Kansas and northern Texas. So we would load up the car with guys and we would go up to Kansas just to beef up their wins on
it was like practice games for college. Like that's what it is.
Oh yeah.
And like we would go to New Mexico to play, and we went to Dumas, Texas. We went to Amarillo. We came up to Liberal. We weren't a good football team just because they had new coaches every year pretty much, but just the caliber of what they do. Like Josh and I, we were on a great football team in high school. I will never take that away from myself or Josh. But the way that we trained, we had a total different coach. If Dreiling was coaching at the team I was at in Oklahoma, Guyman, Oklahoma would have been a state champion probably every year, just with the mentality of Dreiling. Dreiling won his last state championship last night, by the way.
Maker. Dreiling, way to go, Dreiling. Freaking
number 9.
St. Thomas Aquinas getting another one.
35-7.
That dude's a goat coacher. But you're right in that Dreiling was the difference maker. In that it was his coaching that ultimately took what many of us would probably call a pretty average program. Like there wasn't anything special.
No size,
we didn't
except
send,
for offensive line.
We didn't
our offensive
send
line
any
was big.
major people to the. We had big guys on the line, but we didn't send any major people to the NFL or anything like that. We didn't have
Just
some
two
stud running back,
some
stud receiver. We sent players to the NFL, but even the guys we did send weren't like first round draft pick players. No. It was like they were guys that walked on, worked their butts off, and
only one of them was a full ride at OU.
It was fun to watch. It was fun to see him succeed, but we knew going in that our program was different. Like that we were a part of a football program that was successful, not because we were talented, but because we were all bought into a really good program. And because we knew our role.
We knew our role and what would happen if we didn't succeed in our role. Like that was we didn't want to let down our coach, and that was our ultimate goal at the end of the day was don't mess up to where we're letting down our coach. Like that was our mentality pretty much. Where in Oklahoma and Texas, you don't want to let down your town or your state. Like that's how that is down there. Like that's
so
the difference.
Much more.
Bigsby and Bigsby, Broken Arrow,
Yeah.
Jinx.
Right.
Oh man.
Jinx, Broken Arrow,
Carter.
Bigsby,
Carter.
Yeah. Carter, yeah.
Genuine football towns,
Bro,
where it's a legacy to be on the team, and that's it's silly to relate it to this, but if you've seen Friday Night Lights, it's very similar. It's very similar.
I said my cousin Rowdy, he went off to TU and he played for TU for 2 seasons. But he was from small town Oklahoma, and being at TU was just too big for him. But you talk about a kid that was 6'4" offensive line at Broken Arrow, and nationally recruited, just wanted to go to a school by his hometown, and he went off to TU. And then I had another cousin that was BFE Barnsdall, Oklahoma. He was being recruited by big colleges for wrestling. It's either wrestling or football. I'm not downing baseball or any baseball programs around here, but it's a football and wrestling state, and if you're not on them, boy, I was in basketball. Okay, I played basketball, and so you're going to catch hell if you didn't play football or wrestle. And I caught hell.
That's why you wrestle now.
That's right. I wrestle now. I wrestle now, man.
Love it.
But speaking of sports, like, since we're already on the topic, like, I have to highlight this game. I don't know how regular you watch NFL games, so I can't help but laugh. Did you watch the Steelers-Bears game last week?
No.
It was a dead play, and the quarterback's helmet came off, and lo and behold, Garrett, or I think it was Garrett, the one that hit the guy with the helmet 2 years ago.
Yeah.
He walked over to pick it up to give it to him. And like the guy backed him up. They were joking around. I don't think that was highlighted enough like it could have been, because that was funny. Like, that was comedy at its best for the NFL.
That was a great bit. Yeah. Miles Garrett, the dude that got ejected from a game a few years ago for swinging a helmet.
Oh, graduate.
Yeah. Dude's picking up a Steelers helmet off the ground, and lineman comes over and says, "Hey man, no, put that down.
We don't need none of that mess.
Yeah. We don't need that again."
And football's so bad for me right now that I just check ESPN to see the scores. It's that I don't know. I know that the Eagles have like one loss. The Chiefs, they've got 2 losses.
3 now.
And so
3 with the loss of the Eagles last week.
I actually get my Bears up about how bad the season is. I'm like, well,
it just recaps how terrible this week was.
Yeah.
I love those.
And he recaps it, and he plays the guitar, and he sings a parody song about how bad the game was, or if we won. That's how I've been getting my Bears updates.
Well, there is one thing that could come out of it if the whole Michigan thing like really unfolds badly for Harbaugh. They're talking he could come to Chicago. I think that'd be great for Chicago, but I think Michigan and the whole NCAA football program is doing Harbaugh dirty right now, because it's just the NCAA just, I don't know, they just need to take their mouth out of what really doesn't. They should have no say in what goes on in like the whole certain aspects of the game, because how do you actually guarantee that things were done when there's no evidence to really prove them? The NFL doesn't do it like that. I mean, they have, but they know where their boundary are, and they step off of that line.
Just those boundaries.
Yeah. Whether it be a flat football, or whether it be videotaping whether there be evidence or not, the NFL knows where that line is, and then they don't step over it unless they have to. And the NCAA just push their foot into the bowl before really anything needs to be mixed up.
And they just disqualified another school from being bowl eligible, and they're undefeated, and they're ineligible now for some reason, because I remember Pat McAfee was on there.
Oh, he is on a roll with that. He is getting he's building a fire to where it's going to be unable to burn it out for the NCAA, and that's the only thing you can do, is to build a fire that they are not capable of putting out. So Pat McAfee is in need.
Bobby, it sounds like, just because I'm theorizing here, it sounds like you might be theorizing that 15 years the NCAA is no more, or much more limited. What are you thinking?
NCAA, I don't think they get anything right. Nobody gets everything right, but I don't think the NCAA has gotten anything right since, I would say, they took, like McAfee brought up, they took Bush's Heisman Trophy away with very little evidence to really do so, right? So they've made a bad name for themselves already, but with what's going on with paying the players and stuff, I don't see the NCAA being I think it could be like a branch of like the NFL coming up. Like, that's my honest opinion. Like, it's going to be like almost like a Canadian league, but here in America. but it's going to be much more competitive.
It's already like that. I mean, they're getting paid now. I don't know how much they're getting paid, but they're getting paid.
Lot.
And
a lot.
So, and it in the 90s, it all died off, but in the 80s and 70s, boy, those guys were making money. They were making money.
Yes, they were.
They were making money. They were driving cars with their heads on them.
The booster clubs took very good care of those players.
Yeah, and they were doing that until the 2000s, until Reggie Bush's family got put up. It's no different from what's going on in high school football around here. The schools move the families into the areas. They put them up and they help them get a place to stay. And that way they're in the district. And that's what happens with football around here. And that's what's going on with college.
They put a mailbox in the middle of a field where it shouldn't be, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
It's all hush-hush until a team wins a championship.
Oh, who cares? Just let them play football, let them wrestle, whatever. Let them play basketball. You know, they're kids. They're kids. They're not going to make smart decisions anyways. Me, when I was 18, if somebody told me that they were going to move my family somewhere for me to play football or something, yeah, that sounds like a great. I mean, until I was 28, I wasn't making any good decisions at all. I mean, I had
look at what Johnny Manziel was doing. He was making bank signing autographs. Did you guys watch that documentary?
Yeah.
Crazy.
But
making so much money and nothing came of it. Like, and then he came out and made it public.
Because they somehow pulled off the lie that he was from some rich oil magnate family, and nobody questioned it. Nobody bothered to look it up. Yeah. He was like, "Oh yeah, sure, that makes sense. He's from Texas. That makes sense."
Yeah, I mean, like Jordan said, like if you're gonna make your money, make your money. I'm more than fine with you making money. So
yeah, let's shift gears here because I want to talk wrestling. Wrestling had some big reveals last night, and I think it's hot, let's talk about it with our wrestler, man. So obviously the big news from last night, R-Truth is back, baby. Like, let's go, man.
Let's go.
Let's start with his Facebook comment that he made. He made a post last night that said, "I don't even want to watch it anymore." Thanks, Facebook. Was that what that was about?
No, like I heard some other stories about other people. I had just finished it right before I got the link to this, but I have watched it. I had watched all of it up until the main event last night, and I was like, I'm not watching the main event of Survivor Series. I don't want to do this because I didn't watch CM Punk's promos whenever I got back into wrestling, watching it with my son. I didn't watch his promos. I didn't watch Hollywood Hogan's promos. I knew that I could turn the TV off, time it for 8 minutes, 10 minutes, and then turn it back on, and finally the match was starting. And I am so hooked into wrestling that I will do that. And he is one of those people, good guy, bad guy, doesn't matter. CM Punk, when he's on television, I will turn it off whenever he goes to talking. It'll just smooth piss me off, and I'll turn it off. I'll watch his matches. One of the greatest to ever do it. But good for him for coming to going to WWE. Good for him for going to AEW. And I hope he finds love with wrestling. That's about it. The fans are happy. Me, I'm not happy because now I got to turn the TV off for 10 minutes.
A crowd pop.
I got to be honest with you. I'm in agreement. I'm not like I appreciate the antagonism that CM Punk brings to the table because I think when we're challenged, when we're antagonized, we bring out like our best selves. Like when we're pushed, that's when we bring out our best selves. So I do appreciate that about him, but I'm with you. CM Punk is very long-winded. He runs his mouth so much. I'm with you. I'm not super fun. I was most excited. The big one for me is the Viper, baby. He's back. Randy Orton is back in action and looking mean and lean and ready to just kill legends, man. Oh, I love it.
So thick, but he shaved the head, man. I wasn't a fan of Balls Orton back in the day whenever he won his last World Heavyweight Championship. Wasn't a fan of that. And I could have swore at one point they said that he was a 15-time. And then here recently, they've said that he's a 14-time. But I could be wrong. I swore he had 15 titles. I thought
I
that
think I know what you're talking about, but I think Cena took his 15 in the one where Cena came back. I guess the last, not this time, but the one before that, he came back and shook his hand in the ring. He was working on 15, but I think Cena took it from him. Didn't he?
okay.
I
Okay.
think. Now I could be wrong, but I think that was a promo that I saw. It was on Facebook or something like that, but it was where he came out to, I guess, show congratulations to working on his 15th. He shook his hand, and he had all Ric Flair had came back. I think he was in the ring. Yeah. So
Anybody,
a while ago.
man, I wanted it to be two people. If anybody were to break it, the WWE recognized championship rings, because if you, I think like what Sting has 26, Ric Flair has 21, but if the WWE recognized championship, the 16 titles, if anybody breaks it, I wanted it to be Triple H or Randy Orton, and I love Randy Orton, man. I mean, you can watch. I watch so much of his stuff, and Triple H also. But yeah, I was so happy that he showed up. And looking good.
Oh yeah, he looks fantastic. Wrestling great. Like his form was good. Putting over great guys. I mean, just doing what he does best. It's so funny because when that man came into wrestling, I did not like the legend killer vibe. Like I didn't like that whole bit. I was angry at how much he was tearing down all these greats that I love so much. But what a great character to build with him with. And he is.
But your wife was infatuated with him, wasn't she?
Dude, she still is. She still is. I showed her last night and she was like, "Oh my, Randy Orton's back." And I was like, "Here we go. We're turning wrestling back on."
But like I said, I didn't even have to watch the show, and just watching like the live reactions of people watching it live on like whatever it is that they're watching it on, like you could see the emotion in the crowd, not just when CM Punk came back, but mainly when like the crowd just popped, like when all of them came out, but like specifically Randy Orton. Nobody was really expecting it, and I remember back in the day where you could go on to the deep dark web and look up like the secrets in behind that's coming out, and like I don't think it's that way anymore, is it?
Yeah, it is that way.
It is. Like, did anybody see those three coming out? R-Truth or
I unsubscribe from everything. I do. I block websites on Google. That way I don't want to know. I don't want to know who's coming on television. I want to watch it. I want to be a fan, and everything's on the card for a reason, where it's at, why it's doing it. I'm a fan of the hokey stuff. I'm a fan of the technical stuff. I'm a fan of the entertainment stuff. And so I block it, and people were talking backstage. I did a show last night, and people were talking backstage, "Oh, so-and-so's coming back. So-and-so's coming back." Nobody mentioned Ron Killings or Truth. That's how much I watched of R-Truth. I loved R-Truth and TNA and NWA.
Maybe
He's and it just like Matt Cardona, like doesn't get the recognition that they deserve. They were always, the hokey style kind of, but they can go, and I'm so glad for Matt Cardona.
I was going to say that's what's so great about those guys is they are truly universal. And you look at Ron's career, and you look at all the different wrestlers he was plugged in with and partnered with, and just any person you put him with, he blows them up. He makes them successful, and like his ability to sell himself and sell whoever he's attached to. That's one of the things I love about him, man. He oversells his character all the time in all the great ways. Like guys that, bro, my favorite type of wrestler is the dude that will like unhinged, completely be every bit of himself and not like hide anything back from it. Like you get the best characters when guys fully embrace all parts of their creativity, all parts of their chaos. And that's telling
why I
you,
appreciate Mick Foley.
Ron Killings is such a great wrestler and such a great personality because as a person, that dude is that funny. That dude is that charming and that creative, and he just lets himself be his wrestler. And Red, I would say, man, take this, as a compliment for me, but I think you fit in that same vein, dude. Like, I don't feel like there's that much parity between who you are as a person and who you are as a wrestler, and I love that about you. Like, I know you have a persona, I know you have character that's specific to your wrestler, but I feel that's one of the things I love watching you. I feel like you bring so much of just you into everything you do that it shines, man. It's so awesome to watch.
Oh, I appreciate it. I appreciate it. That's a compliment. I'm not. I lost to Santa. So that's so it is what it. But it's. I believe that wrestling. We're not there for our egos. That's just
Amen.
my wrestling. And so whenever I get told who we're wrestling, it's okay, this is who I'm wrestling, and I have to make the best situation I can. And I hope I don't go out there and shit the bed, obviously. But, if it's to make, they're there to fight. They're there to make me look strong. I'm there to make them look strong. And let's go out there and make the best of both worlds. And if you beat me, I'm going to be pissed. Trust me. Don't talk to me about 20 minutes after the match. And a lot of people, you guys have probably seen me backstage. Like, I'm not very approachable after a match. Win, lose, or draw, I'm not very approachable. But I love being in that ring, and I love the contact. I love the physical contact of wrestling. When you get grappled with somebody and it's a good grapple, and you're in the center of the ring, and you're like, oh, I can get this guy. I can, like, there's a point of strength that you're going, I've got this guy if I want it.
Absolutely.
And Josh found out when we were younger that I had this guy. Like, I used to wrestle.
Oh, shut it, Bobby.
Not like that,
yeah,
though,
Bobby was actual like wrestler, and like so Olympic style wrestling. So he planted me a couple of times on the ground, and I'm several inches taller than Bobby, but he definitely worked me over many times for sure. I was going to say,
his back.
I was going to say, Red, something that I think captures just the spirit of it. You talked about that you don't you try not to let it be about your ego when it comes to wrestling. Like, I think that to me is one of the greatest examples of what great wrestlers do, is they recognize that what you're really there for, what you're trying to do, is there's some little kid in the audience that has a dream to be you someday. And you're helping create that legacy of wrestling. Like, throughout the generations, you are like the icons that we looked up to in wrestling. You're that icon for somebody. And that, like...
you could hear it in every crowd.
I was going to say, you could hear it. And then I would say this, man, like, if that doesn't humble you, I don't know what will. Because at the end of the day, man, that's really what you're doing, is you're out there creating these insane memories and these dreams in kids' hearts and heads that they'll never let go of. Like, I owe so much of my excitement and energy to all the wrestlers that I've seen over the years, pro and indie, man. Like, I know there have been some great wrestlers, indie wrestlers that I've met that have just been phenomenal. And they I don't know, their commitment to the service of wrestling. And I'm going to say it just like that. At its very core, wrestling is service. And their commitment to serving the audience, serving their community of wrestling is phenomenal.
It's the hardest entertainment industry to be successful in.
Oh, yeah. I just did a show at a Boys and Girls Club, and there was like 300 kids there. And that was there was 300 kids at this Boys and Girls Club. And there was a lot. I say 300. I'm not a mathematician. I know that somebody, but there was so many kids there. And before we went out there, this kid goes, "Are you a good guy or a bad guy?" I said, "I'm a bad guy." He goes, "Okay, well, I'm going to boo you. Is that okay?" I said, "Man, you do whatever you want to out there, just to make sure that it's not illegal." He said, "Oh, okay." He gave me a fist bump. went out there. Sure enough, that kid was booing me after that. They were all booing me. And
But that's what you want.
It's what I
You
want.
that.
And they were booing me. They booed me as I went out, and they were cheering the guy that I just beat. And that was the magic of it. And it was you mentioned a cold ring. It was outside. It was cold, but it wasn't raining. I've been in a freezing raining ring, and that talk about the chops in the, talk about the bumps in the ring, boy. You just clap on that. But those kids at that show were so phenomenal, and it made that hour and a half drive worth it. Like, I didn't think that hour and a half drive was going to be worth it. I was dreading it. It was going to be outdoors. I knew that. And so I was dreading it. And then the kids started showing up. I was like, this is why we do what we do. And Billy doesn't understand that.
Billy's making cash, man. That's Billy's running a business, and he's got his lackeys and he's pulling his strings.
That was a moment for me. And, you know, I was talking to another wrestler. I said, because we went from, like, one show was 8 people, literally 8 people in the crowd, and I think they were family members. And then I went off to a 300 and 400 show the next day, and I was like, that's what made that so much more memorable, because whenever I was going out there, I was walking and talking trash to those 8 people at the VFW.
Right.
And the next night we're over here doing that, and I'm still doing that. And it's like, I'm so glad that I have these opportunities to do these, but I'm so much more thankful for those 8 people, because those 8 people are going to keep coming back if we do a good job. Those 8 people are going to bring a person if we keep coming back. So that'll be 16 people next time. It'll be whatever that number is next time, you know.
From what I hear, that's how Leavenworth got started. It started with like a very small crowd, and then people just started building off of the way the wrestlers were, I guess, doing what you do. You come out and you say, "Yeah, I will take the booze, bring them."
Yeah,
that says a lot. That says a lot to your character as a wrestler, right? That you bring your standard regardless of how many people are in the audience, and the fact that that's your standard, it says that you're servant-hearted first in this. I love that, man. That's awesome.
It's probably because I'm older, because I was in comedy from the age of, I did stand-up comedy from the age of 18 to like 22 religiously, and then like periodically till the age of 28. But that guy got into wrestling, that you guys would be talking so much trash about me right now, how big I was. And that's what sits like, I'm so thankful that at 32, I decided to start training for wrestling. And then I'm off wrestling now at 35 and fixing to be 36 here in December. And so I'm so much, and for a guy who just wanted one match, I said, I just want to be good enough to have my one memorable match, and I'm coming up on it's dumbfounding. Wrestling is dumbfounding to me when I start thinking about it like I am right now. I'm like, what am I doing? Like this, like I got
kind of like stand-up comedy. I can imagine. Like you don't know really what to expect until you do it.
Oh yeah, and everybody can tell whenever it's pre-made, and then they're like, oh, this guy, and so, but it's so like, what am I doing? I'm living out a childhood dream, and I'm getting these people walking up, fist bumping me, buying merchandise, doing the things that I did whenever I was a kid. I remember fist bumping Dean Malenko and Perry Saturn and Chris Benoit.
That's a name you haven't heard.
Oh, let's go, man.
Like, but then I get to stand at a merchandise booth and fist bump these guys coming in. There's a guy who comes to the Osage Recreation Center, and he brings his granddaughter to every show, and he messages me, "Hey, we're going to be there." And I'm like, "Okay, I'll make sure that y'all walk away with something." But I'm good. Like, it's so surreal, because I would want somebody to do that for my kid, and what can I do for your kid? And that's where I'm at.
That's it, man. That is the heart of wrestling right there.
Yeah.
It's all for wrestling. It's all because at the end of the day, we all love wrestling. We love wrestlers and we love what wrestlers do for us in creating the legacy of wrestling and
It's
what it
allowing the
does.
people who are in wrestling to be the superhero that they grew up watching. That's what it is.
Absolutely,
And
man.
if you can give that passion to somebody, whether it be wrestling or anything that you're doing in the
Yeah.
public, or like, but
Yeah,
creating,
that's the cool
just
thing.
creating,
It inspires beyond
it's
just
contagious.
wrestling. Yeah, it creates kids who are inspired to do wrestling, but it also inspires entire generations of kids to stand up as good guys. Like that's why the good guy wins in wrestling. That's why, and bad guys win too. It teaches us the reality that the bad guys sometimes get the upper hand. But in wrestling, it really does do so much more than just entertain. So yeah. Love letter to wrestling this episode. Let's go.
Yeah,
Wrestling, baby.
and
Yeah.
I haven't watched any of your previous matches, but it's been fun getting to know you backstage and also just being a part. Like I was never this close to the indie part of wrestling. Like this is the closest I ever was. Like I never like Billy came to me and he said, "Hey, how do you feel about doing this?" I had never done anything like that in my life, and then when I did, like everybody, what's that?
You're Billy Stooge?
No, he came up to they're the sponsor of the podcast, and he said, "Hey, how would you like to be our announcer?" I said, "I'll try it." Kind of like with your stand-up. Like I'd never done anything like that before.
Yeah.
My first day, like you couldn't understand any word coming out of my mouth or through the speakers.
I remember that. That was like, this guy's eating the microphone.
No, it was their sound. Like I had the mic all the way down here.
Oh, you did?
But now we have the mic
We did get that figured out. It looks good. It sounds good.
But I was holding it down at my belly button because they told me at the first Leavenworth show that, hey, like the mics aren't like reading when it's up close. So I put it down here and you still couldn't hear just because of the feedback, because they had the mics or the speakers facing the ring. But I don't know. I mean, it was just fun to, like, I guess, get into that loophole of people. Like they're very, like, the first thing that like people do, such as yourself, they come up, they shake their hand, and they introduce themselves. I'm assuming that is across the board for every indie wrestler, is that they want to get themselves to know everybody that's involved in everything, because they want to make a point of, this was my interaction with that person. That's what I'm assuming across the board, because every wrestler that I've came across in the indie part of it has introduced themselves, whether or not they know me or I know them. Is that just a regular thing?
That's one of those tradition things, like bumps, chops, scoop slams. It's a traditional thing that you're taught, that you have to be respectful from everybody, from the janitor all the way up to the CEO. And I was taught that. But there's some places that say you don't necessarily have to shake hands anymore. I've come across that. I've come across places that don't shake hands, that hug, and that weirded me out. But that was their thing. So everybody, like, shaking hands. There was a sign that says do not shake hands, hug.
Good old COVID.
Yeah.
That's the hugger crew.
Yeah, so it's a tradition thing, but people were so done wrong about the traditions that people are getting away from it. And that's one tradition I don't like to see break. Whether you bump fists, shake hands, or hug, do it, but introduce yourself and show respect. But there's some places that I haven't had a bad interaction. I've met people that have, like, oh, I don't shake hands or whatever, and I've gone, okay, listen, I've been around this locker room. I go shake at least that person over there's hand, because if you don't shake that person's hand, they're going to ask them at the end of the night, how was the locker room? And they're going to go, well, I shook everybody's hand except for that guy. He was an asshole. He didn't come up and show respect. I said, so go show respect to at least that guy the old-fashioned way. Oh, okay. Yeah. And, but that's one of the old tradition things that is falling out.
I think you've got some generational culture shifts there for sure. There's a respect to be had to that I think generationally you're probably seeing some shifts culturally that it's just not there anymore.
Yeah, the chop line thing, like that's gone. Hazing isn't a thing anymore. Uh, it's it's moving away for the better on a lot of things, but a lot of things
Sure.
like the respect thing, in my opinion, just my opinion, it doesn't make it right or wrong. It's moving away. That should be still in there, and the generations, you know. Oh well, because I'm in Oklahoma. We're still Southern, the Bible Belt. We end. Y'all are above the Bible Belt. So
We're the belly button.
I mean, we're still stuck in a traditional way. So, but whenever you get to Missouri and Kansas and Nebraska and Illinois, it's different. And it was different. And I know it was different in North Carolina. It was different from whatever I was trained here to do. Everybody was like in a weird funk about me shaking hands out there, but they still shook hands. They knew what was up, but everything was like, oh, okay, that was around there. But
I don't know. It's just something that I registered, and I mean, I just appreciate just the opportunity to actually be a part in that loop now. Like it's nothing that I ever thought I would ever dabble in, I guess you could say, because one, I've also never had a friend that's really owned a company until now. Like that was, I mean,
right.
you've got Daniel, you got Billy, and you have who are all the owners? Do you know, Josh?
I think it's just Daniel and Billy. I think they're the co-owners.
Okay, I just didn't know. But Daniel's he's actually one of the original Chubby Buddies, and
hang on.
he's
the plus one.
He's our plus
He's
one.
the plus one. He's the plus one.
But normally I don't know how much more time you have, Red, but what we normally do is we end it off with like what are we watching nowadays? Like what's in our queue to watch on Hulu, Netflix, and stuff like that. And then before you go, I do want you to plug everything where they can find you on Facebook and all that stuff. So, but what are you watching on Netflix and what's in your queue?
I don't know what a queue is. That's how far off
what waiting to watch.
Oh, what's in my I don't have Netflix. I don't have
man.
I don't have Hulu. I watch wrestling.
Who are you following on TikTok that we need to dabble in?
What do I follow on TikTok?
Who are you following in that you think we should follow? The guy that sings Bears songs about how terrible you are?
Yeah, Danos seasoning.
Let me Danos, yeah, follow Danos.
Yeah, I love watching Danos. Josh, what's in your queue?
Oh gosh, man. I actually so guilty pleasure. Heather and I, diehard fans of Supernatural growing up. So we're Eric Kripke fans. He's a director. He's now running The Boys. I don't know if you've watched it.
I've seen the previews.
It's a dark superhero series on Prime. It's pretty messed up. They have a spinoff called Gen V. It's college age. Yeah. That we just watched the first season of that. It was pretty impressive. So Kripke. The Boys is dark comics and just portrays superheroes in the more human aspect of what you might imagine a superhero might be like, because they are fallible, they are prone to egos and pride and things like that. So The Boys takes a very undertone and dark approach to it. It's pretty impressive the way they go about it. So at Gen V, Heather and I just wrapped up on that. I think we're in season 7 of Suits. We're watching that right now.
Great
We
show.
kind of enjoy that.
I watched
season 7 or season 6. I can't remember.
Watch that.
So that's those have been the things we've been watching.
Josh and Mama, follow them on TikTok. This guy's mom cannot cook.
Mama.
Yeah.
I'm gonna write that down.
That's great.
Josh and Mama. See, this Josh, his mama can cook, so I wonder if they can make like a spinoff, Mama and Josh.
Yeah, Josh and Mama. His mama can't cook. She comes over and she makes some of the worst dishes, and you're like, okay, I'm not the worst cook in the world, but
that's funny.
I have Amazon Prime. I do watch The Boys. I watched a little bit of V. I didn't watch all of it. I just finished up. I purchased Loki. I watched,
yes.
and that was great. I enjoyed it. I watched, what movie did I just watch? Oh, I just watched the new Indiana Jones. I enjoyed it, but for two straight.
How was that? I haven't watched it yet.
Is that the alien one?
No.
Oh,
One before. This is the Dial of Destiny, and I enjoyed it. I never watched the Alien one, so I can't say that it was a bad one. But he's old Indiana Jones, and it's realistic for old Indiana Jones.
Cool.
And so it wasn't the very first one, the Temple of Doom, but it was good.
Good.
What movie else? Oh, I watched a JFK documentary on Amazon. That was really good because the 22nd was the day of his passing. And
yeah.
I watched it, and it dove into his assassination and how the government messed stuff up because those files are open now and people are free to talk about it. And so that how the government, like he went into the hospital with a hole in his throat and the back of his head blown off. But the government sewed the hole up, and they just say that only his head got blown off. In the Zapruder film, it shows him grab his neck and then the back of his head is blown off. But they're both shots from the front, not from the back. So how was old dude up in the depository? And
there's a magic bullet, don't you know?
Oh yeah. But
if you're
magic bullet.
Speaking of JFK, have you seen? I went down this. It's on Hulu, I think. It's called 11/23/63.
Bro, it's a
miniseries. It's a miniseries. It's a book,
but I was gonna say it's a book. It's
a Stephen King book. Or it's a Stephen King. I don't know if he called it a mini like novel or whatever it is that they call that, but like that was phenomenal. That was awesome to watch. If you're really into the whole JFK assassination, I really dug it.
Oh man, I went down in Dallas to the Daily Plaza and all that, man.
We were there for. I know you remember that, Bobby. We went there for Taking the City when we were in Dallas. We went to.
We didn't get to go to that spot. My group didn't get to go to that spot. My group didn't. I was in VBS. I was in VBS. You were in a different
that breaks
group.
my heart. I was in a different group. I did get to go downtown.
Yeah, we didn't get to do that.
We paid a guy that was there to give us the all the tea, to give us all the behind the scenes stuff, the Lyndon B. Johnson stuff. So it was all the conspiracy theories, all of it. It was fun, man. I enjoyed it.
Book and a paper, all that stuff while I was there.
I was going to point out another one that's on Prime that I'm excited to watch. I watched the first 10 minutes of it. Bye Bye Barry, the Barry Sanders doc. I'm so pumped to watch that.
Oh, yeah. I have that on my queue.
Yeah.
But the one that I'm really excited for is Napoleon. I want to watch that one.
Hey, look
so
at
bad.
that dude.
Is that Jake?
Look at him.
That's Jake.
All right, Red, introduce us, man, because I've heard stories of how well loved you are by Jake.
Oh, this is my manager at UWO and my best friend Jake the Pug James.
Jake, what a pleasure to meet you, Jake.
Jake.
And my co-host on Up Late with Red and Jake on Facebook Live. And
there it is.
He's my co-host. And this dude is not trained whatsoever. But when we were at a UWO show and he was following me around, I just took him because he was going to be left at home by himself. I was like, come on, dude, you're going with me. I contacted the promoter. He's like, bring him on. I didn't say who Jake was. I didn't say, oh, Jake's my pug. And
Jake from State Farm.
Yeah, no. He's 2 years old. He doesn't have a job, okay? He doesn't.
I thought his job was your manager.
Okay, he's a manager. But he doesn't have a full-time job. And he's not khaki. He doesn't wear khakis. He's free bird, free balling. And this is Jake the Pug. But so funny story. I worked I had a guy convinced about this Jake from State Farm that I was mad at him. And another guy was like, "Bro, don't talk about his dog like that. Like, you can make fun of his kids, but don't talk about Jake like that. Like, he said." This dude was apologizing to me about Jake the entire night. We were at a party. It was at my house, and he thought he was being disrespectful. He was like, "Man, I'm so sorry, but don't let it happen again." All right,
That's so good.
but
fun fact. We actually had, like, back when we did backyard wrestling, there was a dog. I believe it was a dog that pinned Josh in his sleep. It was a pin anywhere match.
Why do you gotta bring that up?
It's just funny.
Okay, so as you can imagine, Red, being kids that wrestle, we of course had wonderful little stints, and I had one time where I was running kind of a jobber routine. I was in a stint of about 12 matches where I would lose within the first 10 seconds of the match, and we were getting when we talk about hokey, I love hokey. I think it's fun. I think you can get so creative with storylines with it. So I was losing in all of the creative ways. Anything you could think of, I found a way to lose. One of them was getting pinned by a dog in a match. On video. It was great. Getting knocked out by a referee because I got into an argument with him like before the match started. And then basically the guy came and pinned me. And then the coolest thing about the whole plot line is I closed that with a pity title shot and won the title and kept the title. So I'm still actually the European champion of Hutchinson. Oh gosh, what was it? It was
it HCA?
No, it was AKC. No,
AKC,
no, not
yeah.
AKC. No, that was the.
No, that was our gamer tag.
Gosh, I can't remember. It was Hutchinson. HWE? Was that it? No,
I don't remember. It's
no,
been so long.
I can't remember.
It was not HCW.
No, it's no. Gosh, no, that would be funny though, wouldn't it? No, I can't remember what we called it back then, but yeah, I'm still officially the European champion of them.
Still good times though.
Good times.
But hey, Red, why don't you plug this stuff where you can be found? What's your your handles on all the socials and Up Late with Jake?
So Up Late with Red and Jake. I just got a new job, so the times are gonna have to change. It's gonna have to be pre-recorded. But Up Late with Red and Jake was just me having downtime at my house, just being home with my kids. My wife got moved to nights, so it was just me, and I wanted somebody to talk to. And the people were like, "Hey, bring me on," and I brought on Ray Leon for the first time, and then it's just building from there. I do on-site interviews. I do ride-along interviews. I've done Logan Knight ride-along. I've done Superstar the Wrestler ride-along. And then on site, I've done Cade Fight, who's a really good wrestler that I want y'all to just know the name of, and hopefully he makes his way up there. Y'all be blown away with Cade Fight. But it's a lot of Oklahoma-based wrestlers and guys around here. But that's Up Late with Red and Jake, and the days vary by day. It does, but all the dates are out there. Let me pull the names up. Up Late with Red and Jake. On December 2nd, I'm interviewing Father Padge. December 4th, Romeo Reese. December 11th, a name you guys might be familiar with, Mitch Onyx. HCW and not HCW. He was in XWE years back. December 12th, Dan Weber. December 15th, Violencia y Paz.
Oh, cool. That'd be fun.
December 18th, Alan Stoker does interviews and things. He's a big photographer for the shows. December 20th, another name you guys might be familiar with, D. Cooper.
I've heard the name. Yep.
And December 29th, Giganto, an Oklahoma guy. But
cool.
My socials, man. I have a lot of socials. All right. I got a Twitter at Joshua Red James on Twitter. Yes, my shoot name is Joshua. Instagram is Josh Red James. I have a LinkedIn Red James. Snapchat, Joshua Red James. TikTok, I think I'm Joshua James. No, I'm Red. Shoot.
Yeah, you're Red James, I think.
I'm Red James on TikTok now.
Yep.
Facebook, my Facebook page is the Foreman Red James. YouTube is Joshua Red James. Also, just basic Facebook profile is Red James also. I have my December tour up. I like to do the tours because nobody else is like, oh, here's where I'm going to be. I'm like, nah, man, we're doing tours. Like, I love that idea that I'm not going to be at the same place. So December 2nd, I'll be in Heartland Championship Wrestling at the Osage Recreational Center in Wichita, Kansas, taking on Johnny Faith for the Independence Championship.
Let's go.
December 8th, I will be at Core Professional Wrestling. I have some beef with the referee, actually.
Okay.
So I'm gonna call him out.
Don't let him cost you your match.
Oh no, that's the whole point. Like, he cost me my match a couple of times.
Oh,
He put hands on me, so I'm going to call him out there. So that'll be on December 8th, the Core Professional Wrestling.
those refs, man, that ego gets them thinking that they're a bigger deal than they need to be.
Bro, I have never, like, the wrestlers, we're all laid back. Notice this in the locker room. Notice this. How dead ass serious these people take their jobs to count to 3. Like, I got told that I had a fast count in the corner. The referee was like, 1, 2, 3, 4, get out of the corner. I said, hold on. I just got the guy to the corner. They go, get more creative. I said, okay. I got out of the ring. I said, start counting to 10. They're like, 1, 2. They started on. They got up to 9. I slid back in the ring, got my shoulder in the ring, slid back out. I said, what, you tired of counting now? I made them do it 3 or 4 times, and they came back to the
Good.
got beef. I said, yeah, we got beef. Like, you want to sit there and count fast and take your job dead ass serious? You know what? You can talk a lot more. Oh, now you're winded. Oh, I'm sorry. So my rant about referees.
There you go.
How you really feel?
I'm going to get in so much trouble. You guys, you have a lot of trouble with it. But
That's all right. This can be found on YouTube, and we'll also post clips to TikTok.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Post this one. Post that one about the referees and how much shit.
For sure. Share it with him. Make sure he knows what's coming his way.
Yeah. December 9th, I'll be at Native American Wrestling in Watts, Oklahoma. December 16th, I'll be at Violencia y Paz is starting their own wrestling fed. And
is this down in Dodge Garden City area?
Garden City, yes.
Yes.
December 16th, I'll be at Southwest Kansas Independent Lucha Libre.
Yeah, and it's a Lucha Libre organization, which is very, very cool. That's so awesome. I'm so excited to see those guys really bring that style of wrestling here and bring their touch to it. That's going to be really, really good.
Yeah, I'm a fan. Like, I'm in construction work. Like, and so the Hispanic people, I love everything about their culture, and I love everything about Lucha Libre myself. I mean, I watch all wrestling, AAA, CMLL. I watch it all, and so I'm very excited for them. That's going to bring a different taste to the Midwest. I hope they travel around. I hope it's not just stuck in Garden City. But if it's stuck in Garden City, hey, go for it.
I think it'd be really cool to see them have the same kind of range that we see from like HCW, where they're able to move around and really showcase their talents pretty much all the way across the area. That'd be really cool.
Yeah. And then December 30th, I'll be for my 100th match on December 30th. I'll be at Unified Wrestling Oklahoma in Tuttle, Oklahoma, at the 4th Street Theater.
Let's go! Let's go!
And
James, I just want to say, go ahead.
Oh, I just like.
I want to cut you off.
The grind for the last year and a half, trying to get I didn't realize that I was so close to 100. Until I was about 70, and I was like, I can make this happen. and then things started happening. Like I couldn't go to this show because of these reasons or whatever. And then I would be past 100 by now if, car problems weren't a thing, if life wasn't a thing, if people weren't pieces of shit. Like things happen. But whenever I put it out there about 70, people were like, "Hey, we'll get you to 100. We'll get you to 100." And the wrestling community is wonderful about that. They just want to see me meet my goal.
I think, man, any guy who's willing to put in the time and grow and become a great wrestler, most of the wrestling community supports that and helps make that successful. It really is. Weirdly enough, it is a team a team sport. You wouldn't think of it that way, but it truly, as an industry, it has to be so much more than the individual.
Well, it's because if one of them fail, they all fail. It seems like that's what they feel in their mind and everything.
Yeah, your company goes out of business. Where do I go to work? Well, if you're still stuck in the me mentality, you're not going to get any work. So then you have to join another team. And I've been there. I've done that. In my short time, I've seen a lot of things. I've seen companies go under and guys never wrestle again because they're not part of wrestling team. They're part of that company. Yeah. And, if they wanted to quit, they wanted to quit. But if I wouldn't want to.
Something special about it for sure.
I don't see you quitting. But I appreciate you just coming on here, man. This was fun.
Absolutely,
I was
man.
hoping Jordan was going to be
blast.
here. I appreciate your company, but I think Jordan would have just adored this because he said that you were one of the funniest guys he's ever been around.
Oh, I'm happy.
He's the one that got HCW into Leavenworth. I'm sure you've seen him when in Leavenworth at the local.
He used to be the GM there. He used to be the GM there. He's since moved to the Hilton or the Hampton Inn.
Hilton, but I was actually supposed
to Jordan Rivers, I think is how you would probably know him.
I was supposed to have a match with him, and he didn't. He no-showed that night, and then I got moved to another thing. That was my first time in Leavenworth. I was supposed to have a match with him.
Yep.
But we appreciate you coming on.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
Time flies when you're having fun.
Yeah, I didn't realize we were on here for 2 hours until I looked at the time.
Yeah. But before you go, we're going to cut this out. We're going to say goodbye, and then we'll talk later or in the pretty much post, all right? But I love you, Joshua. I love you too, Red. I love your enthusiasm.
Red,
I love everything about you.
We love you, man. We're glad to have you, and consider yourself an honorary chubby buddy, dude. You may not have the gut that we have, but man, you're chubby in our eyes.
Oh, he's working on it. I think he's working on it.
He's doing all right, but man, he doesn't have the years of snacking experience that we do. He's got the spirit of it.
I've got the spirit.
But I appreciate you. Cool, love you, Josh.
Appreciate you. Thank you for coming. Love you guys. Bye.
Bye. Bye.